switch over to my persistent radio system here, which I have the receiver, and that works effortlessly with my controller. That gives me 10 kilometers of range. So I could literally take this controller, go back to my hotel, sit down, order lunch, have a drink, and be able to do this entire demo without ever stepping foot in this building if I wanted to. But somebody has to change the batteries, so here I am. Let's have some fun. So this is the battery underneath. Spot weighs about 60 pounds when it has nothing on it. When it has its payloads, it weighs about 80, 85 pounds, so it's pretty heavy. So the first thing we want to know about working with a device like this is it is not a toy, it is a tool, and you must be very, very safe. So you have to have a lot of situational awareness, you need to know what's going on around you, and that's both for me and Spot. So it's always human plus robot, robot plus human, not either or. So Spot's not here to take our jobs, it's really here to work with us. So we call it a cobot, because it's collaborating with a robot. And so that's really helpful because when Spot moves around, I'm just a human, I'm not perfect. Believe me, I know I look perfect, but I'm not. And so Spot sometimes will make its own decisions. So you'll see, when I take Spot down the stairs, it's gonna go down the stairs backwards. And people always ask me, why does it go downstairs backwards? Safety. This PTZ camera is very, very heavy. And Spot is very heavy. So if it tries to go down the stairs forward, it could tumble. And you don't want an 85-pound robot tumbling. That's not good. So it's gonna go down the stairs backwards, and I'll demonstrate that in a few minutes. It goes up the ramp forwards, up the stairs forwards, and it goes down backwards. And I'll show you that. Let me show you the PTZ camera so you get a sense of what Spot sees. And this is where IBM comes in. So let's imagine Spot not operating at your house, but operating in an industrial environment, like a nuclear reactor, an oil and gas plant, a manufacturing facility, a warehouse facility, a place where there's a lot of buildings and a lot of assets. And when I say assets, I mean heaters, coolers, pumps, fire detection systems, emergency systems, doors that are open or closed. So lots of things that need a lot of attention on a daily basis. And sometimes the humans aren't really that great at paying attention to all of that. Well, Spot can do that. So between all of the cameras, all the sensors, it can carry a microphone for audio. It can listen to things like a pump that's not vibrating and indicating there's a problem, a cooling unit that's running too hot, a fire extinguisher with a manual gauge, and the gauge reads that the fire extinguisher isn't charged anymore. So Spot can actually interpret all of that, make a decision right here in the AI core about what is the next step, and then using a system called IBM Maximo, it'll actually create a work order and send a human out to take whatever action is necessary. Maybe it's low priority, the pump has a weird vibration, needs to be inspected. Maybe it's high priority. It's getting a really high thermal rating from a heat unit that's going to get somebody out there immediately. But all of that computation is done right on the robot, right at the edge. So that maintains very high throughput and very low latency. So Spot is able to communicate and collaborate with the humans with incredible timing and real precision. So in a minute, I'm going to bring Spot, oh actually let me show you the cameras. That's the fun part. So we talked about situational awareness and safety. Here you're going to see Spot's 360-degree cameras. You can see as I walk around, it's showing me moving all around. You can probably see yourself in the image. So you get a sense of that. The PTZ camera, this one's fun. We're going to have a little fun with this one. So let me show you this. So let's say you need to look at an asset that's really far away, and Spot has to go in and examine that asset. Then that's no problem. Spot goes to that point, zooms in, and can take a look at that. So then let's say maybe, let's imagine that's a smoke detector and there's a red light and a green light. The red light indicates fault, green light indicates go. If Spot sees a red light, it generates that work order, sends the human out to fix it. If it sees the green light, it can either ignore it or I can send a message letting you know everything's fine. If you look over there, it's almost hard to see what I was looking at. Then we have the thermal camera. This takes temperature readings, and if something's running too hot, it can generate a work order, and it can get someone out to fix it. And as we can see, I've done too many demos today. I am clearly running very hot, so it's going to generate a work order and send another person to do the demos. And then I can go in the back and take a break. So you can actually see how it's running thermal, and in the middle you can actually see it's taking, let's see if I can point, it's actually taking my temperature. So again, we can imagine Spot's in that industrial environment. It's looking at a pump, it's looking at a heat exchanger, it's looking at a cooling system. If it's running too hot, it works with IBM Maximo, makes that work order, and sends out the human. Okay, this is Spot's regular cameras. Those are these ones right here on the front. You can see I'm pointing at it. And Spot's little face there. Now, Spot sees in black and white, partly because of this. Now, for those of you that are on this side, don't worry, I'm going to show you in a minute on the screen. There's what looks like a little QR code here. This is called a fiducial. And the fiducial is what allows Spot to start and stop an auto lock mission, or operating autonomously. So when I'm no longer controlling it and Spot's doing it itself, it uses this to start, and I'm going to show you that. But first, let's bring Spot down. So I know your phones are going to come up, that's good. Just make sure we maintain that distance. You're all fine where you are. But if you look at the bottom, you're going to see that I go from walk mode to stairs mode. You see that at the bottom? Walk mode to stairs mode. And that's because I want to make sure Spot knows that it's coming down. So, I'm going to tell Spot to go straight down the stairs, but with so much motion and so many people, let's see what Spot chooses to do. So it's figuring it out, it's changing its mind on direction. It made a little bit of an adjustment, and it came down the stairs just fine. Now you'll see it has no problem going over these rocks. I actually tripped on them earlier and almost fell, but Spot doesn't seem to have any problems. So one of the things people always ask is it dangerous? Is it a crazy robot like we see in the movies or we see on Netflix? It's not, it's totally harmless. In fact, Spot has very powerful object avoidance. So it is aware of all of us. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to run it, or not run it, I'm going to move it towards me, and we're going to see if it will hit me. I'm not going to steer it, I'm not going to try to move it out of the way, I'm just going to have it come at me, and we'll see what it does. Interesting. So what Spot is doing right now is saying, I can't clear this obstacle, there's not enough room here, and there's too many people here. So Spot has decided to just stop. So all I need to do is just move a little bit out of Spot's way, and then we'll go right past. And you saw it kick its legs a little bit? That's because it's constantly adjusting for all of your motion and this big wall standing still. Let's try that again. I'm going to change my position and have Spot do it from that end. Don't worry. Spot's going to kick up and just look at you a little bit. That's not me doing it. That's Spot doing that itself. Let me try the again, and I'll stand closer to the wall this time. And I bet it just turns a little bit and goes right around me. Nope, see, Spot's doing it again. It's saying this wall is too close and there's too many people here. If you weren't there, it would have just cleared right around me. Okay, let's talk about